Hi guys, today we are going to be talking about the 5 most important candlestick patterns that you guys need to know in order to succeed within the markets. So the first ones that we are going to be going over are basically copies of each other. So it's what's known as a hammer and a hanging man. So that's what we're going to be going over for the first one. The second one that we are going to be going over, again opposites of one another, is the morning star and evening star. And then without further ado, the last things that we are going to go over are 3 soldiers. So the first one of each of these pairs is going to be a bullish signal, a bearish signal, bullish signal, bearish, and then another bullish down here. Just to give you a good view of, I guess, a couple of different ways that you can make money in the market, not just with sells, but also with buys. So that can really, really help you out when you do come to learn to trade and you do start off by yourself. So let's go over the hammer and the hanging man. So this is really, really simple. So basically what we are looking for here is just a hammer-like pattern. So usually these hammer-like patterns are going to denote a big move to the upside. And in fact, we can see one right here. Let me just go on the replay and we can have a good look at what this looks like. So the first thing that we need to see in order for it to be a hammer is a smaller body. So if I zoom in here, we can clearly see that it is a smaller body. Now, what denotes a smaller body? Basically, it has to be half the size of the entire wick. So if this wick was, and it is, 26, basically 27 pips, I would want to see it roughly around the 13 pip mark. So somewhere like here. So the wick needs to be basically just over half the length of the body, right? The wick needs to be quite longer. So we need to see a small body. This one here is about 6 pips. We don't want to see anything over 10 pips. So remember, the two things here is 10 pips and under for the body, and then we also want the body to be basically just under half the size of the wick if we were to be looking for it as well. Say the wick was a little bit smaller and it cut off here, that would be fine because we know that the body can fit into there twice, right? That makes sense. So that's how we look at it. And it is called the hammer because imagine if you're grabbing it, this is the handle, this is the head, it would fall down, right? That's why it looks like a hammer. Realistically, what we'd love to see is a really small or no wick at the top, right? This one's all right because I'm thinking it's 5 pips or under. If I'm looking at it, it's actually 6.4 pips. We'll just say for this example, it is going to be 5 pips or under because that's what we're going to be looking for. And what this actually shows is that the bearish move is coming to an end. Now, obviously, we're in a big bearish move. The market is moving in a downwards manner. So we see this and now we're waiting for it to come up. Now obviously we know that that's going to happen. It shoots up and there we have it. Yes, it did pop down for a second, but ultimately it shot up, right? That's what we want to see. That's what the hammer pattern basically denotes. So we look for it, small body, bigger wick, and then no wick on top. And then we want to see basically this big bullish move. Now the opposite of that is the hanging man. So this is found at the tops of big bullish moves. Now let's see if we can find a really good one. It's going to look basically exactly the same as the ones before, which is really, really handy for us. So, if I can find it, here is another one. So, this is going to denote that the move is going to be stopping. Now again, what you'll see is that it looks exactly the same because it is. The only difference that you will find is that these come near the end of a bullish move. And then when you see it at a bearish move, that is denoting that the end is coming. Now, as I said in the previous episode about what are candlesticks, what are candlestick patterns, do we use this by itself to hop in? No, we don't. But do they give us really good signals to basically let us know what's about to be happening? Yes, because as we said, this, the exact same thing, bigger wick, smaller body, needs to fit into the wick at least 2 times. Does it fit all of that? Yes. Unfortunately, we've got a bit of a wick at the top there, but although it does come up, it then comes down as well. And what we can actually see here is that we start to form another hammer pattern right here. We can see there's basically nothing on top here. The body's 7.3, and the wick, if we go from the bottom, unfortunately, it's not as long. It's 10.7, so it's not valid. But what you can see is this pattern is starting to form again over here. And then what we know from here on in, it starts to fall down from this area, really. So we go from all the way up here. We have this down move. It comes up, falls down again after shooting up. So we can see that if you had hopped in around here and you found the top, you would have been able to drop in for this move before it started to climb up again, which again is quite handy. So that is what the hanging man and the hammer looks like. So now we're going to be talking about the evening star and the morning star. So the morning star is something that is usually found at the bottom, and this is what it looks like right here. If I just cut all this noise back, what you will find is that there is always a big bearish candle, a smaller bearish candle to end it, and then a big push to the upside. That's what we're seeing here. So it's a 3 candlestick pattern. It's just these areas, and if I get this little square out here, that we're going to be concentrating on. It's just these 3 here. So what we see is this big down move, and then all of a sudden, after this big bearish push, we just get a really small candlestick. Now that's really odd for a big bearish move because you would expect it to continue to go down. If we look at, sorry, I'll move that out of the way, guys. If we look at this big push to the upside, yeah, we get one big move, but we also get like quite a large down move as well, and so on and so forth. Get a lot of little smaller candlesticks, and then boom, we get a huge push to the upside. What happens here? Massive push, smaller candlestick, massive push, and then we get another one. We get these smaller candlesticks. However, these are 2 of the same color. So that's what we're looking at right here. And then we start to get a push to the upside. That's what we're looking for. And then from here on in, we start to see it go up. So what we're looking for here is a big candlestick going down, a smaller candlestick accompanying it, and then immediately after, a larger candlestick going and pushing up. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So that's the morning star. It's obviously a bullish candlestick pattern there. And then the evening star, as you can imagine, is going to be something different. In fact, you can see another variation of it right here. This is slightly a better one because we actually have an engulfing move. We have a big move coming down, small candlestick, small one, and then huge green push up here. Even down here, we can see a big move. Actually, this one might not be as valid, but you can see it's still the same thing. Big push to the downside. We have 2 greens, unfortunately. Remember, we need 2 of the same color after the big move down. We have that big move. This candlestick doesn't make it valid because we only want 3, remember? We have the big move, then we have 1, push down, small body candlestick, small wick, and then a big engulfing move. That's something that we love to see. And even if we went back, you could see something like this. Big move down. Unfortunately, this candlestick makes it invalid because remember, we only want 3, but you could see 1, 2, big move, and it comes up like that, and so on and so forth. So that's what the morning stars look like. They're always at the bottom, and they denote a big move to the top. But what happens when we want to see a bearish pattern? It's the exact same principle. We get a big bullish move up. Then we get that smaller candlestick, and then look, we have the smaller body. Unfortunately, we've got really big wicks. What do we normally look for? Really small wicks here, but I just wanted to show you what it kind of looks like, right? We have that big move, it's just flipped. Smaller candlestick, smaller body here, and then that big engulfing move coming down. What happens after it? We see that it obviously shoots down. That's really lucky. That's something that we'd love to see. So if we try and find another example of that, again, unfortunately, these wicks are a bit too big, but you saw that big push, and then it starts to come down. Let's see if we can find a really good one. Just around this area here, we can see what? A big push to the upside from here, big push, smaller candlestick body, big push down. What happens after? It shoots all the way down. So that's kind of what you want to see from these areas. And even over here, you can see it again. It starts to fall down. So those are the evening stars. That's what you want to see there. Remember, it always has to be two of the same color. If you saw something like this, it's not valid because it's green. Needs to be another green one, and then it pumps down. But if you're just looking at this, something around this, that's what you're looking for. Something around that area. That's what an evening star is. Even this one here, another great example, and then it falls down. That's what you want to be seeing. So we've looked at Hanging Man, we have looked at the hammer, we've looked at morning star, we've looked at evening star. So you've got two bullish, two bearish, and now we're going to go over my personal favorite one, which is the three soldiers. And what you like to see here, and it's really fantastic when you do see it, are three evenly sized bullish candlesticks, right? So even if we came to here, what we always see it happen is after a big bearish move to the downside, like a really quick, powerful move to the downside. Like, look how big this red candlestick is. It's huge. We can see it again. But what I want you to concentrate on is these three candlesticks here. Big, small, big. It's the three soldiers, much like the three bears of varying different sizes. We do want to see these evenly sized candlesticks here, either side of this middle one that's a bit smaller here. And this obviously is going to denote a massive bullish movement. So you hopped in on this last one here. That's what I would be looking at. You'd be doing something like this. Oops, sorry, wrong one. Something like that. If you made it all the way to the top, how much would you have got? 3.26%, which is pretty good. So if we can go and have another look, see if we can find another one. 1, 2, 3. Unfortunately, we are looking for that one slightly in the middle here, but what we can see is those two evenly sized candlesticks, and then we have a smaller one there. So you can get away with this. There are some variations in it where you can have these two medium-sized candlesticks and then just a slightly smaller one. Hop in, you would have done the exact same thing again. So let's look for that for the third time. Obviously, these ones are too big. We still have the smaller one. Do we have two evenly sized candlesticks? Not really. See how this one is just far too big for this one? That's not what you want to see there. Let's go and have another look. Again, you can have two of these candlesticks that are evenly sized, but they look a lot bigger, and it's starting off with a small one. Not something that you want to see. Again, failed one because you have too big of a candlestick here. Although when they appear, it's very, very handy to see it within the market. Now let's see if we can find a really good one. One last one to finish us off for today and this lesson. Perfect. One small one, one medium one, one smaller one, and look at this body here. If we measure this out, so that's 13.5, that's 11.4. So it's basically 2 pips off, right? That's very close. Remember, as I always say, Forex is not a game of perfection. It's never going to be. So if you're 2 pips away, that's very close. And look at the one in the middle, which is definitely going to be smaller. 7.2, half the size of the other two. So again, if you'd seen this, the 3 soldiers, one in the middle, sitting right there, you could go in for a long, put it there, and if you manage to get it all the way to the top, I mean, you're looking at something along the lines of 4.8%, which is awesome, which is really, really good to see. Anyway, guys, that is it from me. I hope you have enjoyed this one. Those are the candlestick patterns that I use the most. Again, if you have any questions, leave a comment, email us, however you best see fit to contact. Look at this lesson again. Look at the other lessons. Make sure you've already watched the chart candlestick pattern. If you don't understand it, if you want to go over it again, write some notes down. That's what's going to help you the most. Anyway, guys, that is it from me in this lesson. I cannot wait to see you in the next one. Until then, stay safe. Bye.